Okay, the big yarn part two. May as well have a bit of a yarn. Talk to you guys about all kinds of stuff. Well, I remember my dad turned around the other day and he's like, "Oh, Claire, you've done more than what I ever done in my life." And he goes, "I can't believe it. You got your first job." And then I told him, thinking, "Hang on a minute." I said, "No, that wasn't my first job." And he's like, "What?" And I said, "Don't you remember I worked at the clothing factory in South Yarra?" Yeah, I did, guys. I worked while I was at Lionel Hall, right, community school in Richmond. I worked in a clothing factory, linking garments, and I was the best linker there. But not only that, I used to babysit the boss's son, Daniel, that used to live in Caulfield North, in Alma Road. No, it wasn't Alma. No. Hang on, Narong Road. Yes. Oh God, I used to babysit a whole lot of kids back in the day in Caulfield, where I used to live as well, before we moved from Caulfield North to Elsternwick. Yeah, so, and now I'm currently living in Hyatt. So we used to live in Caulfield North first, then we shifted to Elsternwick, and then from Elsternwick we shifted here to Hyatt. Yeah. And I worked there for 8 months, best linker, and look, even though they gave me free clothing, okay, I used to link the garments, I used to link the polo necks, the curved necks, you know what I mean, the jumpers. And because I was fast and I was the best one there, I just didn't like, the cash in hand kind of job, I knew that it was going to be temporary, that I wasn't going to be there forever. So I only stayed there for about 8 months. And, she paid me babysitting her son, Daniel. And she also paid me for doing the ironing, because she used to hate doing the ironing, so she got me to do it instead. And, yeah, 8 months. And I said to her, "Look, if you're not willing to give me a pay rise, I'm going to have to go." I said, I've been here, you claim I'm your best linker. Well, if I'm your best linker, I think it's about time you fucking paid me more. And she refused, and I said, "Okay, I'm out of here." So I left, never saw them again, never babysitted a son again. I refused to. And about a year later, I applied for a job at Coles in Elsternwick. I was hired instantly by Robert DeFossis, the best store manager I ever met in my whole entire life. He was the best. He was so old school. He was like Alan Sugar. No joke. That's who he reminded me of. No joke. He seriously did. And he hired me. He goes, "Look, the job's yours." I don't know, something about me he liked. I shook his hand and that was it. I was hired and I started a week later on a Monday at 5 a.m. I used to start at 5 a.m. I used to do 4 or 5 hours, 5 days a week. And it was casual rate, and I stayed with them, and the hours changed as the years went on, and I all up worked there for 11 and a half years. I've got my 10-year certificate, I've got my 2 gold 10 years of service badges with my name on it, and what else? I got a cake from them, because I remembered we were all hanging upstairs in the tea room, me and the night fellas, and they signed, "Good luck, Clara," and all that. I've got my big certificate, everything I need. So in the future, when I have to go back out into the workforce again, I've got everything I need to update my resume, and I can go straight back into working in supermarkets again. You know what I mean? I've got experience in checkout and experience in face up and a little bit of experience in night filling. So that's what I used to do. And the management over the years there at Coles and Elsternwick would come in and out, and some of the managers and the bosses we had were fucking demented. No joke, they weren't. They were so into work politics. Okay, the checkout chicks used to drive me mad. Some of the night fillers did, but most of them were A-OK. But I'm just saying, I'm not into work politics, okay? Now, if they don't consider you, just say you work in the supermarket, if they don't consider you to be a team member because you're not into work politics, like for an example, you're not into backstabbing one another and spreading stupid rumours like these other idiots used to do at Coles, to try and drag me into their drama. And because I refused, and I'm like, listen, I don't know why you're telling me this, you're trying to cause trouble. I said that to that Russian chick, her name is Natalie. She drove me fucking mad. Here she is, I don't even hardly know her. She comes up to me, and I'm new. I just started, it would have been about 6 months in, and I'm slowly getting to know everyone. And she's fucking, here she is, backstabbing me about some other fucking checkout chick. And I just put her right in her fucking place. I'm like, listen, I said, I'm not bloody interested, okay? I don't care. I don't hardly know you. I don't know her. I don't know why you're telling me this. You're obviously trying to cause drama. I'm not interested. And ever since then, she hated me. Gave me greasies. I didn't care. People can look at me as nastily as they want. But I'm there to focus on my job, okay? I'm hired to do a specific job. I'm a strong believer in shutting your mouth and do your fucking work, okay? I'm old school. That's what I believe in, okay? And only speak when you're being spoken to by a customer or another staff member. That is it. But no, a lot of people back then when I used to work, they would yap, muck around while they're working. And I remember Robert DeFoss's, because he's like Alan Sugar, remember? Oh, he would snap at them. Say, hey, no talking, talking's for your break time. And I agreed with him. You know, I nodded, I agreed. I'm thinking that's how it should be in every workplace. Okay? I'll rule with an iron fist, just like Alan Sugar. I mean, Robert DeFoss's, who reminds me and looks a little bit like Alan Sugar. No joke, he seriously does, guys. I'm not over-exaggerating it, I'm being real here. He really does. If only I can have a photo, damn, to show you, and put it, like, to compare Robert DeFoss's to Alan Sugar, and you can see what I mean. They're both the exact same height. They dress similar. Robert DeFoss's, who used to come to Coles dressed in a suit, all looking smart, very old school, you know. Yeah. So if I ever do, you know, have to end up going back into the workforce again, I don't know, you never know. I might end up back at Coles again in Elsternwick. That would be fucking hilarious if I returned back there. That would be spooky in a way. But I don't know, I might work at Woolies in the future, I might work at Kmart, Aldi, who knows. But, you know, it's always best to go back to what you know. And it's a lot easier when you think about it. But I'm also willing to, you know, step out of my comfort zone in the future and dabble in something completely different. It'll be interesting. But yeah, like at the moment, sadly, I can't work. I can't even work part-time because I have to work full-time from home taking care of my father because he can't be left home alone. He can't. It's not ideal and it's not safe to leave someone who is bedbound home alone. It's not a good idea. So that's the reason why I can't even get a part-time job. It's because of that. So I get paid roughly every fortnight $1,380.80 each fortnight. Now, if I get an advance payment, I have to pay back the repayments every fortnight. So I will lose maybe $81.40 of that, and the balance from that is mine. And out of that, I pay my half of the rent, food, bills, because we got electric, we don't have gas here. So I pay half electricity, I pay half of the rent, I pay, only $10 towards the water, because the water bill is not much. Pay half of the internet, okay, and I pay for my own mobile phone recharge. Okay, so every 28 days I pay $35 for that. I pay my own, Chopper pays for his own, and that's just how it is. And we go halves in the food. I don't smoke anymore, but Chopper does, and I help him. I fork out a little bit of my own money to help him get a carton each fortnight, and he gets himself 5 or 6 packets on his payday, because you see, he gets paid every fortnight on a Thursday, I get paid every fortnight on a Saturday. Weird, I know. Bit weird. But yeah, so my next pay is until, the 7th of February. That's my next pay. So yeah, that's just how it is. And whatever money I've got left, I'll just spend how I choose. Soon I have to start saving up money again for my next following a dentist appointment. So that won't be until, not this coming payday after. That's when I have to start saving. So Yeah.